Pat, we're at the start of November. It's a time when herd sales now become more important for us or whatever. So why would you suggest to people maybe that are considering selling their herd to come to us for us to sell?
I suppose farmers are coming to us, Bertie, for ease of transaction overall, really, I suppose. So we'll control the whole process from start to finish. We would call out to the farmer if they've decided to sell their herd of cows, sit down with them, go through the process of how we work. I suppose, which is a simple process, really. We'll bring a buyer to the farm, but before we do all that, we will have a discussion with them on trying to get all the animals going to the one farm, I suppose, which is something that a lot of sellers are very happy to do and like seeing their lifetime's work all moving on to the same farm again. I suppose we'll speak with them, I suppose, around pricing, what they're looking for the animals. It's up to us then ultimately to try and achieve that price for them then with the sellers. All the animals would travel together then would be the I suppose ideal scenario in most cases.
Why is that important, Pat, for a seller?
I suppose sellers like to see, I suppose, Bertie, after spending their lifetime building up this herd, and they like to see all the animals travelling together. As well then, I suppose, from the seller's point of view, they don't like to be rushed into decisions. So if we bring a buyer to the seller's farm and they make an offer, the seller can think about that overnight and discuss it with other family members, which in a lot of cases is very important for them. So it's a massive decision for someone to sell their herd of cows. So they can discuss that over with family members and maybe come back to us the following day saying, yes, I'm happy to go with it, or no, I'd like to go with a different option, or whatever that is,
So Pat, in terms of buyers, I suppose two questions. One, have you many buyers looking for herds at the minute?
Yeah, we have lots of buyers, I suppose, Bertie. The general run of buyers that we have, I suppose, are anywhere between maybe 60 to 100 cows. So they're people who are maybe going back into milk that were in it a few years ago, or maybe their parents were in milk previously and that they're going back into dairying again. And in general then as well, I suppose, herd sizes that are being sold are kind of falling into that category as well. That kind of 60 to 90 cow herd is generally what we're seeing that's coming up for sale.
Okay, so in terms of the buyers then, Pat, who are they? Who's looking to buy?
Yeah, so you'd have maybe, I suppose, look, some farmers unfortunately who might have lost animals to TB, they're gone clear now and they're looking to take cows in and start off again in the new season. You have some people who maybe got a parcel of land beside them. They have a lot of heifers maybe that are coming in themselves and they want cows to go with it to give that mature milk. And then you have the new entrant who's starting afresh. And I suppose, look, a herd sale is the ideal scenario for them in ways. Look, you're getting the mature milk straight away. You have a group of animals that have been mixed together all their lives and they're able to just move on to the new farm. So I suppose from a buyer's point of view, that is ideal as well. And that's why they're coming to us looking for herds of cows now at the moment,
And so to give confidence to the seller then in terms of not bringing somebody who's going to be a time waster or whatever, what vetting will you do with a potential buyer?
Yeah, so we would vet buyers, Bertie. A lot of cases we'll actually call to the buyer's farm and discuss options with them, see exactly what they're looking for, so that when we have a herd for sale, we're actually bringing a buyer who we feel that this group of animals will suit. We will discuss them then around finance. We'll have broken that down with them and discussed that with them. Again, from a seller's point of view, payments are made before the animals travel, so they have that security as well,
Okay.
So I suppose we'd vet the buyers really, Bertie, before we bring them to the seller's yard.
Okay. And so in terms of, I suppose, maybe another motivation for somebody to come and sell their herd with us, privacy, from you talking to people, how important is that, or why is that an important point for people?
Yeah, it is. I suppose people like to keep their business private. It's a tough, I suppose, it's an emotional thing with cows. We're dealing with cows every day, and it's an emotional thing that people don't want everybody maybe knowing their business, and they like to keep it private and confidential. They don't want everybody knowing maybe what the head price was, and I suppose they don't want to be put under that pressure of everyone knowing that the animals are being sold and why are they being sold. And local gossip is very strong in rural Ireland, so maybe people just want to keep things discreetly done and get on with their business, and just have the animals appreciated that have been sold. So that's the main reasons, I suppose, really.
Right. And say, Pat, in terms of the time maybe a seller has, does no gun to the head in terms of animals or maybe in a ring or whatever? There's no pressure like that with your process?
No, there isn't. And we'd have the prices discussed, I suppose, Bertie, with buyers before they're coming to the yard. So they know what is on, what price the seller is looking for, what they feel is the value of the animals. We'll have that discussed with a buyer before they come to the yard. So they know within reason what the head price is going to be. And I suppose from both parties, a lot of times we have a lot of sales, the herd sales done. A lot of the time they won't actually agree there and then. Both parties like to go in and discuss. It's a massive transaction, a massive sum of money, and both parties have to be happy or else there won't be a deal done.
Right.
So, you know, whatever amount of time someone needs, they're given that time, and there's respect there from both sides, you know.
Right. And so, Pat, for somebody that rings up and maybe wants to hear more about information, do you call out to the farmer? What kind of information maybe will the seller have to make available to you?
Yeah, so I suppose, look, the more information, the better. I suppose, thankfully, with ICBF, we can get all the information there. 90% of farmers, I suppose, are registered on that party. So we will go through the lactation breakdown of the cows, the age profile of the cows, and discuss that with the seller as to maybe what they see as the value of the animals. We will go out then and we will look at the cows on farm, and I suppose we'll get photos and videos. We'll advertise the animals on our platforms then. Again, there's I suppose privacy there. We don't put up names or details or anything like that with the herd of cows that are being sold. And I suppose the more information, the better. Ideally, they're being milk recorded. We like to look through the ancestry of the cows and look through the breeding of the cows as well, and to see what I suppose what the cows have done and what the cows are capable of doing going forward then as well for a prospective buyer.
Okay. And say in terms of the buyer, Pat, are they typically, say, Irish based, or maybe will they be in the UK for an Irish herd that might come available, or what's the reality there?
Yeah, and I suppose generally it would be Irish buyers who will be buying Irish cows, and similar in the UK, it is UK to UK, the herds will be travelling there as well. I suppose a number of reasons is we like to get all the animals travelling together, and buyers like to try and take as many animals as they can from the one farm. But if you're looking at older cows, maybe moving them across to the UK, it sometimes logistically just doesn't make sense. Maybe if a cow is moving on her 7 to 8 lactation and she's going over to the UK then, whereas I suppose for a herd sale, for her to really get her value, she should be staying in Ireland really, you know.
Right, yeah. And I suppose most importantly, Pat, maybe, you know, for when the transaction completes, no animals move until the seller is ultimately paid.
Exactly.
So they have that reassurance.
Yeah, payment
which is
made.
critical.
Yeah, exactly. So we charge a commission, and that is one of the things that we'll guarantee, that the payment is made before the animals leave the yard.
Okay.
So so I suppose the seller has assurance there on that, you know.
Okay, so Pat, to finish, for any potential sellers looking to make contact, how do they make contact?
Yep, so they can ring our landline number there, which is shown up on screen, or they can ring myself on 087 953 1194.
Very good.
And again, we can talk them through the process there again, Bertie, and that is, it's something we take great pride in doing. It's something I suppose that people have spent a lifetime in building up a herd. And look, we like to try and do the best we can for the herd of cows, and that they get the value that they should be making, you know.
Yeah, and equally, I suppose, for customers in the UK, Matthew Beeston offers the same service that we can provide here.
Exactly, Matthew's numbers there below as well. And we've a lot of herds moved up within the UK as well. Again, different parameters for different, I suppose, calving intervals there as well for the UK animals, you know.
Fair enough. Okay, that's great, Pat. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.